Hello, my name is Mary Lou Roth, and today I'm going to be talking about bullying of nurses and nursing students, and I'm going to be giving a short analysis of a pervasive phenomenon. So first, why did I choose bullying of nurses and nursing students? The researcher wanted to gain a better understanding of how pervasive the problem of bullying was among nursing staff and students, to better understand the root causes of bullying behavior, to become better aware of what behaviors are called or considered bullying, and how to become part of the solution. So the first article that was chosen is called Bullying Among Nurses and Its Effects. This was an early study of how bullying affects nursing staff in the workplace. This study is important in that it identifies behaviors involved with the bullying of nurses. It includes psychological, physiological, and social tolls that are taken upon nurses when they do encounter bullying behaviors. Behaviors linked to bullying in this article are shown as verbal and nonverbal, and they include things such as being humiliated in front of others, excessive workloads, and having necessary information withheld from them. There's also isolation, mobbing, and not having their work accomplishments valued. This article also addressed how bullying behaviors can lead to depression in victims who had experienced bullying. Some of the main strengths that are listed are, first, it is one of the first studies to look at the psychological, physiological, and social effects of bullying of nurses. Many later publications cite this study as an important first step in defining the problem of bullying of nurses. It does identify that decreased work satisfaction, lower work performance, and depression are seen in victims of bullying. Some weaknesses of this article, however, include that its publication date is in 2009. It's a little bit outdated, and so there's not as much information out there at the time that this was put together. Also, it has a small sample number for this study, which inhibits knowing how reliable these findings can be. There was a low percentage of returned forms, so a low percentage of participation in this study, I think about 53%. And the location is also a weakness. This study took place in Turkey in one hospital, and so because of differences in values of male and female roles played a part into who was included in this study, and the work laws kind of prevented males from being included. The next article that is cited is called Our Own Worst Enemies in the Nurse Bullying Epidemic. Important things about this article is that it does recognize that bullying is a systemic, pervasive problem, and it does recognize that there are overt and covert bullying behaviors. Overt is yelling at a person, intimidating, belittling in front of others, whereas covert is more passive-aggressive. It's giving extra assignments, giving low grades, being isolated, being talked about, rumors, and gossip. And this study, and the other important thing is that it recognizes that there is a high cost of nurse burnout, which includes lower level of patient cares, lots of people that are nurses that are leaving jobs or considering leaving their jobs due to having encountered bullying as in their workforce. So some of the strengths of this article include that it identifies different bullying personalities. There are 6 of them. is called The Super Nurse. It's called, let's see here, The Resentful Nurse, The PGR, Put Down, Gossip and Rumor Nurse, The Backstabbing Nurse, The Green with Envy Nurse, and The Cliquish Nurse. And I think that those personalities are self-explanatory in the behaviors that they exhibit. This study does call out bullying behaviors for what they are, and it does suggest ways to implement prevention programs for bullying, and these prevention steps should help to put a stop to existent bullying and prevent further bullying from happening in the workforce, or in the workplace, excuse me. An important part of this study is that it encourages everyone to do their part. Some of the weaknesses of this article, though, is that it is a compilation of many previous studies, so it is a meta-analysis, and the citing references is kind of difficult to interpret and difficult to follow up on, because if the reader wants certain information, there are certain articles that are not easily accessible. So for the third article, I included one that says, Seeing Students Squirm, Nursing Students' Experiences of Bullying Behaviors During Clinical Rotations. This article was added in because it gives a further dimension of nursing bullying behaviors, and that they start even when nurses are in school, not even licensed practitioners yet of the nursing profession. This article was published in 2018, and it says that it's addressing the bullying behaviors that are encountered by senior level nursing students prior to becoming licensed nursing professionals. The authors noted that there are varied evidence as to the pervasiveness of this experiences experienced by nursing students, and so they wanted clarification, which is why they put together this study. Some of the strengths of this article include things like they define rationales of bullying behaviors. There are 5 distinct categories in this. Is seen as a rite of passage, that it is unpreventable, that students are not welcome. There are other stressors that don't fall into any one of those, or that the perpetrator is just not a nice person. I think it's important to be able to define in clear terms what sorts of behaviors or rationales are going on, so that we can understand how to prevent, how to stop, and how to implement ways to circumvent these problems. Another strength of this article is that there are multiple locations that were used to conduct this study, and multiple campuses. And then this also means that there are suburban campuses, there are urban campuses, and there are rural campuses involved in this study. So we get a bigger demographic and a lot of different environments that these nursing students are encountering these bullying problems. I like this. This researcher found that this article was good in that it provided in-depth discussions of the problem of bullying, possible solutions to prevent bullying, and realizing the true cost of loss of nursing students and staff due to bullying practices. Weaknesses of this article, or limitations more or less, were that bullying behaviors were only studied in the clinical setting and not in the classroom or on campus. Also, this study did not look at other potential perpetrators outside of the clinical setting, and this could have included like other faculty, other classmates, or the students themselves committing these bullying behaviors. The other thing is that this study also had a small sample number. There were 56 students involved in this study, even though they were spread over 4 different campuses. So final thoughts of this issue that was studied is that there are recurring themes with bullying behaviors, and those themes are that these behaviors are negative and they're unwanted actions towards others. Each of these articles describe bullying behaviors that include, again, belittling or intimidation in front of others, rumors and gossip, withholding of information that's vital to patient cares, isolation and mobbing, which means people gang up on one victim, more than one perpetrator to one victim, unfair assignments, extreme micromanaging, and even sabotage. Bullying is described as eating our young and is considered normal in the course of a nurse's career. Bullying is known to have psychological, physiological, and social effects. These effects manifest as feelings of depression and burnout, high levels of stress that may lead to chronic health problems, and nurses who decide to leave their jobs or ultimately the nursing profession altogether. The financial costs of losing nurses to burnout and decrease in level of patient care are compounded in the face of bullying behaviors. So while these studies have shown great detail as time goes forward and as new information emerges these studies show what bullying is, the behaviors exhibited by bullies, the archetypes of bullying personalities, and so on. There is still a lot to learn about how to prevent bullying from becoming a problem. And there are suggestions that education of nursing students that focuses on recognizing bullying behaviors, what is not and what is bullying, how to manage different encounters that may include bullying behaviors, also how to interact professionally with persons of diverse backgrounds early on may be an effective way to circumvent this problem. And it is shown in these articles that this problem truly is an epidemic for the nursing profession. Thank you.